The way this idea came about was from a good colleague of mine, friend of mine. He worked in a cafeteria, a burger restaurant. In that cafeteria they had a toilet, and the washing sink was outside the toilet. In these old days it was allowed in Denmark to have like that. And it was very easy to decode whether people washed hands or not washed hands after leaving the toilet. So in particular my friend noticed that in the very busy hours people had a higher tendency not to wash their hands, which is natural because they were busy making burgers and pizzas. So actually it was my friend that came up with that original idea of trying to connect the soap dispenser with the toilet, because you don't want to annoy people going into the toilet to talk on the phone or have a glass of water. But whereas if you use the toilet, you want them to wash hands. When I learned about that idea from my friend, I quickly started looking into how we behaved 1,000 years ago and how we behave today. Let alone the fact that we are 7 billion people, that we stuff 50 people into a room, that 20 people share the same toilet. That behavior and the way we live requires a lot from us. It requires much more than in the old days. So we have to take care that we don't spread bacteria, because it takes seconds for bacteria and virus to go from one person to another person. Coming from that we live very different today, I found it especially alarming when reading numerous reports on how poor hand hygiene was, not only in Denmark but all over the world. So my thinking was, we need to do something about this. And the idea of my colleague just kept going on in my head. I learned that, for example, 6 out of 10 adult people do not perform any type of hand washing after using the toilet. And that is not a number that is explicit for Denmark. It's a number that is all over the world, basically. So during my research, I kept asking myself why. Why do we treat this problem in such an ignorant and sloppy manner when it's such an important issue? I kept looking for that answer, and then one day I came to think about that. I think it's because that bacteria is invisible. You can't see them. For that alone, the fact that you can't see them, people can't sort of connect to them. And I think that's a huge part of the problem. Another huge part of the problem is that if you are sloppy with your hand hygiene, you don't get sick. Your next door neighbor might, or your colleague might, but that's not so important for us as human mankind. So getting to know the nature of that problem, I looked into other industries to see if I could find similar problems, and quickly, the car industry popped up because they had that same problem with getting people to use the seat belt. And the way they tried to nudge people or persuade them to use the seat belt is also by a visual signal or audio signal. So basically what I just took that technology and then I transferred it into a soap dispenser using the same methods of a visual and an audio signal. I truly believe that in 4 years we've created a product that's going to be life-changing for people. We are sure that our product is efficient. It's going to double the hand hygiene by a factor 2. It's going to reduce absence due to sickness by 30%. It's going to save lives in hospitals. It's going to educate kids to make sure that they wash hands when they grow up. It's going to help elderly people to do it the same. So in conclusion, I honestly believe that the world is going to be a healthier, better place to live with this one.